Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Ever feel like something's holding you back, like some invisible force keeping you from reaching your full potential?
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to explore this fascinating idea from a nonfiction book, all about understanding and overcoming those personal barriers to peak performance. The things that really stop us from becoming the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah, it's like those aha moments, right? The ones that shift your perspective in an instant. If you're all about those, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on future deep dives.
Absolutely. Today, we're all about See Your Elephant by Dr. Joe Brown, link in the description if you want to check it out on Amazon. Don't let the title fool you, though. It's playful, but the insights, profound.
So Dr. Brown's worked with some of the best athletes out there, Olympic teams, world champions across a whole bunch of sports. And what she's found is that there are these hidden things, doubts, fears, limiting beliefs, she calls them, elephants, that can really mess with our potential.
It's not just about fixing the symptoms. It's about getting to the root of what's holding us back. Those deep-seated things we might not even realize are there.
Okay, so you, dear listener, have told us you want the meat and potatoes, no fluff. So in this deep dive, we're laser focused on three key elephants Dr. Brown unpacks in her book. Fear, ignorance. Now, she uses this word in a really specific way, meaning a lack of self-awareness and inauthenticity. And we'll uncover the sweet spots, think of them as strategies for managing these internal obstacles.
We aim to give you a clear, actionable understanding without bogging you down with too much detail. So let's start with what Dr. Brown calls the biggest elephant, the one that often sets the stage for all the others.
Fear.
Yeah, fear. It's primal, right? We all know it.
Yeah.
But Dr. Brown digs deeper into what actually happens in our bodies when fear takes over.
It's not just a feeling in your gut, it's a full-on physiological response. Our autonomic nervous system, the one that controls breathing, heart rate, all that good stuff, kicks in a high gear.
It's like flipping a switch from relax to go, go, go. Right. And the gaze switch is the sympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system. It triggers a racing heart, faster breathing, higher blood pressure, even your pupils dilate. Your body is getting ready for action.
Which, as the book points out, can be awesome if you need that burst of energy, like imagine a sprinter. But maybe not so much for a gymnast who needs pinpoint precision and focus.
Spot on. And the book uses a really gripping story about the Jamaican bobsleigh team. Remember that anecdote about their four-man crash?
Oh man, that was intense. Dr. Brown's actually there at the bottom of the track and she hears this awful grinding sound. Turns out it's the sled dragging upside down. Her first thought naturally is, are they okay? Is everyone alive?
Right. Total concern for the athlete's well-being. Then comes the practical question. Is the sled wrecked? Can they even race again?
And what struck me is not that they were scared. I mean, who wouldn't be after a crash like that? But how they handled that fear as a team. Imagine the mental fortitude to get back into that sled after such a terrifying experience.
One person's fear could have paralyzed the whole team. But they did something incredible. They openly acknowledged their fear, named the elephant in the room. It was that shared vulnerability that allowed them to support each other, get back in the sled, and ultimately qualify for the Olympics.
It's a testament to facing fear head-on, collectively, to overcome what seems impossible.
It wasn't about ignoring the fear. It was about recognizing it and choosing to move forward anyway.
And it's not just mindset, right? There's a whole biological response happening, too. Like, our brains are flooded with hormones, aren't they?
Absolutely. When we feel fear, the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and adrenal glands, this is called the HPA axis, get activated. This triggers the release of stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, giving us that surge of energy.
So we're primed for action, but maybe not for clear thinking.
Right. Meanwhile, the amygdala, which is like our brain's alarm system, goes into overdrive processing the fear. And when the amygdala is firing like crazy, it actually hampers activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for making rational decisions.
So that's why our brains can feel like scrambled eggs when we're under pressure. But the book emphasizes that not all fear is bad, right? There's a difference between the fear that keeps us safe and the kind that holds us back.
A crucial distinction. Healthy fear is like our internal warning system. It keeps us from doing stupid things. But the elephant of fear, that's the fear that keeps us in our comfort zone, makes us terrified of vulnerability, feedback, even confuses nervousness with genuine paralyzing fear.
It's fear dictating our choices, limiting our potential. And the goal isn't to eliminate fear completely, right? It's more about learning to manage it.
Precisely. Dr. Brown talks about developing adaptive responses to fear. So it's about identifying it, understanding its triggers, and modulating its intensity. Not erasing it, which is usually unrealistic anyway. It's more like learning to surf, not trying to stop the ocean altogether.
I love that analogy. And the book even has this pause and reflect exercise for dealing with fear. What's the idea behind that?
It's about bringing awareness to the feeling. You recall a time when fear was overwhelming and just observe the sensation. The idea is that by acknowledging the fear, you can actually diminish its power. It's like the elephant might not be so scary if you can really see it.
Okay, so we're starting to get a handle on this fear elephant. Let's move on to the next one, and Dr. Brown discusses ignorance. And remember, this isn't about lacking intelligence. It's something much deeper.
Exactly. Here, the ignorance elephant refers to blind spots, a lack of awareness, specifically a mismatched awareness of self, your potential, and your competition or environment. It's about not seeing things, especially ourselves and our capabilities, clearly.
The book uses the example of overconfident athletes to illustrate this. That really caught my eye.
It's fascinating how overconfidence can be a form of ignorance. Think about those athletes who seem to coast through the early rounds, maybe underestimating their rivals. They might not take things seriously enough and end up jeopardizing their chances of even reaching the final.
It's like they're tripped up by their own success.
Right. And there's a specific example in the book, Matt Cowdrey at the 2012 Paralympics. His overconfidence almost cost him a spot in the final. It's a reminder that even at the highest level, a lack of self-awareness can be a major downfall.
So where does this overconfidence, this particular kind of ignorance, come from?
Dr. Brown suggests it often stems from early success, maybe being overly praised or pampered. You know, when you start mistaking past achievements for current readiness. Just because you've won before doesn't mean you're automatically set for the next win. You got to constantly assess your skills, your competition, the whole playing field.
It's like resting on your laurels instead of sharpening your tools. But there's got to be a healthy level of confidence, a sweet spot.
Absolutely. The ignorance sweet spot is about being aware and open. It's about having that optimal level of confidence. Athletes, or anyone striving for peak performance, need to be well prepared, physically and mentally, set realistic goals, have solid strategies, and regularly check in with themselves.
It's about believing in yourself while staying grounded in reality.
Exactly. And this is where emotional intelligence, particularly self-awareness, comes in. True confidence is tied to that ability to believe in your future potential, while also being humble enough to assess your current skills and tools realistically. The book highlights that confidence isn't just in your head, it's also affected by your physical state, your senses. Even your posture or a genuine smile can impact your confidence level.
So it's not just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about the whole package. So both doubting yourself constantly and being arrogant are signs of this ignorance elephant.
You got it. Underconfidence, constantly looking down on yourself, and overconfidence, looking up and overestimating yourself, both stem from a lack of self-awareness and can hinder your performance.
So it's about finding that balance.
Precisely. The book talks about a confidence performance spiral. Good performance boosts confidence, leading to better performance. But if you're not careful, constant success without that self-awareness can lead to complacency and overconfidence. That's the ignorance elephant, which can then derail your future performance.
It's like a self-sabotaging cycle.
In a way, yes. But when you're operating in that optimal confidence zone, your concentration is sharper, you're less distracted, and you trust your instincts more. You make better decisions in the moment. You're prepared, focused, and ready to execute.
That's powerful. And the book makes a point about confidence fluctuating, but something else should stay constant.
Right. Our confidence might go up and down, but our self-worth, our inherent value as a person, should remain steady. Your worth isn't defined by your achievements or failures on any given day.
Okay, so we've tackled fear, navigated ignorance. Let's turn to the third elephant. Inauthenticity. What does it mean to be inauthentic in this context?
Inauthenticity, as Dr. Brown defines it, is about not being true to yourself, to your values, to what truly makes you happy, and owning both your strengths and your weaknesses. It's living and acting out of sync with who you really are.
The book had this interesting observation about Jamaican teams and authenticity.
Right. Dr. Brown noticed that Jamaican teams, often facing limited resources, tend to have a strong sense of identity and a clear understanding of why they compete. She suggests that this deep-rooted sense of self might be a key ingredient in their success. It's the opposite of the diluted self that comes with inauthenticity.
So how do we become inauthentic? What leads us away from our true selves?
Well, the book suggests that our natural authenticity gets eroded when we stop trusting our gut and rely too much on external validation. This often starts early, maybe in childhood, when our true expressions weren't always accepted. Over time, we might develop a facade, masking our true selves, and that creates stress and a vicious cycle.
And you mentioned a really moving story about someone at the Alvin Ailey School that illustrated inauthenticity perfectly.
Yes, Sophia's story is powerful. When she joined the Alvin Ailey School, she was surrounded by people who shared similar backgrounds and experiences. She finally felt a sense of belonging. For the first time, she truly saw herself reflected in others, and this acceptance unlocked her potential.
It's like being given permission to be yourself.
Exactly. She no longer felt the need to suppress parts of herself or conform to expectations, and her career thrived. It shows the freedom and energy that comes from embracing your true self.
That must be so liberating. And just like with fear and ignorance, there's a sweet spot for authenticity too.
Of course, the inauthenticity sweet spot is described as the fit for you. It's when your thoughts, feelings, and actions are all aligned. You express yourself genuinely and feel deeply fulfilled. You're operating from a place of true potential.
And the book connects inauthenticity to hindering something crucial for growth and innovation.
Yes, the link between inauthenticity and creativity.
Hmm.
Dr. Brown argues that creativity drives innovation, especially when pursuing unconventional goals. When you're not being true to yourself, you limit your ability to think outside the box. You're trying to fit a mold that wasn't made for you.
You're not playing your own game.
Exactly. And there's another inspiring example in the book, Ellie Cole, the Paralympic swimmer. She was already successful, but realized she wasn't happy or performing at her best. So she made a bold decision to change coaches and programs, aligning herself with people and a philosophy that resonated with her values.
She prioritized her own needs.
And that act of prioritizing authenticity reignited her passion and led to even greater achievements. It emphasizes the importance of listening to that inner voice and having the courage to ask for what you truly need.
It's about taking ownership of your journey. It seems like inauthenticity can be a sign of deeper issues too.
That's a key insight. Inauthenticity can often mask deeper feelings of low self-confidence or self-esteem. When you doubt your worth, you might try to be someone you're not, play it safe, avoid vulnerability. The book emphasizes the importance of recognizing your inherent value and stopping that pattern of hiding.
So these three elephants, fear, ignorance, and inauthenticity, are all interconnected and can profoundly impact our ability to perform and live fulfilling lives.
They are indeed. Fear can cloud our judgment. Ignorance can lead us astray, and inauthenticity drains our energy and prevents us from tapping into our true potential.
But it's not just about identifying the problems, it's about finding solutions, right? And the book provides those sweet spots as a roadmap.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that fear needs to be acknowledged and managed to become alert and agile. It's about understanding that optimal confidence comes from being aware and open with a realistic yet positive view of ourselves and our surroundings. And it's about striving for that authentic fit for you, where your inner self aligns with your actions.
So finding those sweet spots is an ongoing process. It's not a one-time fix.
It's a continuous journey of self-reflection, learning, and growth. It's about constantly checking in with yourself, being honest about your feelings, and how you're showing up in the world. It's essential for anyone committed to personal development and striving to be their best.
This deep dive into See Your Elephant has been incredibly insightful. It really makes you think about those hidden obstacles we all face.
It does. And it begs a crucial question for you, our listener. Which of these elephants, fear, ignorance, or inauthenticity, resonates most with your experiences right now? And what's one small step you can take today to acknowledge and understand that elephant in your own life?
That's a powerful question to ponder. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today.
It was my pleasure.
We would love to hear your ha-ha moments from this deep dive. Share your thoughts in the comments. We're always up for continuing the conversation. And if you found this exploration valuable, please hit that like button and share it with someone who might benefit.
Your insights and participation enrich our community. Thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive.
See you next time.
Bye for now.